5 lights on ahead of the drivers. It's lights out and away we go. They weren't held for long, and Verstappen does get away well. Alongside him is Daniel Ricciardo.
We're ready to race in Portland. Here we go. And Dixon gets a nice jump on the inside of Rossi.
Buongiorno F1 and IndyCar fans. Welcome to Formula Pun Racer. Today is September 17th, 2021. Here today I give you my review on the ItalianGP and the Indycar Portland Grand Prix. Both occurred back on September 12th. I will begin with the race at Monza. It all started with Max Verstappen of Red Bull on pole. His former Red Bull teammate, Daniel Ricciardo, who now drives for McLaren Mercedes, started second. And as soon as the lights went out, Daniel Ricciardo took the lead, and we were in for an interesting surprise. But a few corners in the first lap, Antonio Giovinazzi unfortunately got turned around by Carlos Sainz, but he managed to continue on. Unfortunately, it was a double whammy for the AlphaTauri team. Yuki Tsunoda and Pierre Gasly, last year's Monza race winner, were out with electrical problems.
Leaping legends!
But the biggest highlight of the race occurred by the halfway point when championship contenders Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen came in contact with each other going through the first chicane on the track, with Max Verstappen's Red Bull ultimately ending up right on top of Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes. Game over for both of them. And who knows how more serious this would have turned out if it weren't for that halo. As a result, that worked miracles to keep Lewis Hamilton safe and sound, and they both walked away unhurt. No points gained for either one, and they still maintain their position in the championship. I'm just surprised they didn't go at each other as a result of taking one another out. All the same, Max Verstappen will have a 3-place penalty for the next round in Sochi, Russia. Not only is it almost surprising how Hamilton and Verstappen took each other out, and how Verstappen is going to take a 3-place penalty in Sochi, but how Hamilton's Mercedes teammate, Valtteri Bottas, who had to start from the rear of the grid because of a power unit change in qualifying, he would charge all the way up to finish third in the race. And that's pretty bizarre. And helped as well by the fact that Verstappen's Red Bull teammate, Sergio Perez, cut the corner a few laps after Hamilton and Verstappen took each other out to get by Carlos Sainz, but as a result, endured a 5-second penalty, which would be crucial in giving Leclerc, Sainz's teammate at Ferrari, a 4th-place finish, with Valtteri Bottas finishing 3rd, and Red Bull's Perez would finish 5th. But in the end, aren't you glad that, while it may not have been the Flying Dutchman on top, in fact far from it, that something orange was on top just as well? McLaren's Daniel Ricciardo of Australia is back in victory lane for the first time since his 2018 Monaco Grand Prix win, and his first win for McLaren Mercedes. So congratulations, Daniel Ricciardo, on your first win in 3 years. Throw a shrimp on the Barbie for this Aussie. The Wizard of Oz takes his 8th career victory, and his British teammate Lando Norris finishes 2nd. So this is McLaren's first victory since 2012, and their first 1-2 finish since 2010 in Canada. So congratulations to McLaren for finding your way back in victory lane. Aren't you glad they just came out on top?
Yes!
Now that George Russell is leaving Williams at the end of the season and joining Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes next year, who is going to replace George Russell at Williams, you ask, to join Nicholas Latifi? It's going to be the British-born Thai, Alexander Albon. So I hope some of you Williams team members are ready to talk Thai for him.
Jack talked Thai very well.
I mentioned in one of my previous videos that Takuma Sato and Ray Letterman Lanigan are parting ways. That's true, but another big reason that it's occurring is because Panasonic, which has sponsored Takuma Sato for quite a long time in his IndyCar career, has parted ways with the Japanese driver, so his budget for IndyCar racing has gotten slightly thinner. But it's a shame that such an electronic company and him have become disconnected.
Oh, God.
Because of Sato's partnership with the Japanese electronic company Panasonic being permanently disconnected, it's time to flip a coin over the high rumors that he might join Dale Coyne Racing for 2022. Well, with 2 Indy 500 wins to his credit, I would say it makes Dale Coyne's roster look good to have him and possibly Ed Jones on his team for 2022. As for Ryan Hunter-Reay and James Hinchcliffe, 2 more races left in their Andretti Autosport career, and for 2022, what will they do? That's to be decided by them, and if they can even catch a ride in 2022. But they'll do whatever it takes to keep on racing for as long as they can. And Ryan, I hope you appreciate the attire I wear on behalf of you winning the 2014 Indy 500 in the second closest finish in the race's history. I wish you luck, Ryan and James, in the 2 last rounds of the IndyCar season. As for the Portland Grand Prix, it is unfortunate that it's a race for James Hinchcliffe to forget, as he was out with the electrical gremlins. At the start of the race, though, with Alex Palou of Spain for Chip Ganassi taking his first career pole, and Alexander Rossi of Andretti Autosport starting second, and Scott Dixon, Palou's teammate, third, it was an amazing start for the top 3 drivers, as 4th place starter Felix Rosenqvist of McLaren Schmidt-Peterson was a little too hot on the brakes going in the first corner and slightly tapped Scott Dixon, which forced him, Palou, and even Alexander Rossi, and as well as Rosenqvist himself, off the track onto the runoff area, and creating quite a stir that made Helio Castroneves, Oliver Askew, Will Power, and Romain Grosjean, among others, to spin around, and Helio Castroneves was one of the few that came off worst. And as for Hinchcliffe, not only was his race one to forget, but his fellow countryman Dalton Kellett was out with electrical problems too. And Oliver Askew, he would continue on for a little longer, and Romain Grosjean, but they both would want to forget that race indeed. But surprisingly enough, despite the fact that Graham Rahal and Patricio Ward had their share of leading some laps, some pit strategies that didn't pan out in their favors helped Alex Palou come back from a bad start, as well as Alexander Rossi, who started second, and Scott Dixon third. They basically finished where they started. 1-2 Alex, and a 3rd place Scott Dixon. So I gotta say, for some reason, while Scott Dixon's primary sponsor is PNC Bank, for some reason, Alex Palou's sponsors was the same for this race as Scott Dixon. So with a Ganassi 1-3, you could say Chip took it to the bank, and Alex, I'm glad to see you cashed in that win to maintain your championship lead over Patricio Ward. So with 2 races left, let's see if you can take this to the bank. Ooh, I knew that if Alex Palou or Scott Dixon, driving with PNC Bank sponsorship, winning the race, they'd be diving in the cash. But I didn't think Peter Griffin would take that fact literally. And congratulations, Andretti Autosport driver Alexander Rossi, for getting a 2nd place finish, your first podium finish of the season.
Where's Marcus?
Marcus Ericsson finished 7th in the race. This is why he is still mathematically in the championship. 5th in points, 4th is Newgarden, 3rd is his teammate Scott Dixon. Patricio Ward of Mexico for McLaren Schmidt-Peterson is now 2nd in points, and thanks to Alex Palou's pole and 3rd IndyCar win at Portland, he has now once again retaken the points lead. Ganassi has 3 drivers in the top 5, so he has a 3 out of 5 chance at winning the championship with just 2 races left. And one of them is just around the corner, right here, Laguna Seca, coming up on September 19th. Right on where the bird is the word, NBC. Once again, congratulations to Alex Palou of winning in Portland, and congrats Daniel Ricciardo in winning the Monza Grand Prix. Orange is definitely the color of victory in this past week. Aren't you just glad that Palou and Ricciardo came out on top? I know I am. Thanks for watching my videos. If you like, please subscribe and share with your friends. I always listen to anything you comment on. And be prepared to watch the IndyCars take on the penultimate round at Laguna Seca, California. And let's see who will close the gap in the championship. Until next time, I'm Aaron Cylinder, firing on all cylinders.